So yeah, I did that job for about 5 months. I mean, not 5 months, 5 weeks. About 5 weeks. I did that job for about 5 weeks. And then in the midst of me doing that job and getting towards the end of where like I knew I was gonna have to quit, and you know, I had this idea already that I wanted to go to Rockford, Illinois, right? Rockford, Illinois is the second biggest city in the state of Illinois. It's next to Chicago, right? And it's a little closer to Chicago. It's about 2 hours from Chicago, right? You hit the pedal to the metal, and it's about an hour and a half from Chicago, right? So yeah, I wanted to branch out and go to Rockford. I had already knew some folks in Rockford because, you know, my days of being in the street and stuff like that, selling drugs and stuff, you know, I had already knew quite a few folks from Rockford, and there was people that were from Rockford that were making their way to Dixon, and then there was people that were from Chicago that were making their way to Dixon to Rockford, you know, or whatnot. So I knew folks already over there, and I was in touch with one of the guys that I knew from Chicago, from the low end. I was in touch with him, and we actually was in Shawnee together, and he just ended up going home before I did. He made it back to Illinois before I did, but I was in touch with him, and he was in touch with me while I was still incarcerated. And he had always told me, he said, man, if you need anything, Black, let me know, man. I'll be more than glad to help you, right? So I had already had in my mind that I was going to Rockford, Illinois, and I had let my son and my grandmother know this, especially my son, throughout the weeks of me working, even before I started working, I was letting my son know to be prepared, man, that I'm gonna be having to relocate in the city of Rockford, Illinois, to make a better way for myself, because the opportunities are very, very slim here in Dixon, Illinois, and I have to, you know, I want to be very clear to my son that I have to go where there's more opportunities. That way I can find myself, you know. Yeah, I had been preparing my son more than I had been preparing any of my other family members for, you know, my departure from Dixon. So when it came time for that departure, for me to leave, I had linked up with, like I told you, the guy from the low end that I had known from being in Dixon, and he was doing the same things that I was doing, selling drugs and stuff like that. And he had made his way home. He was working. He had a very good job. He was working for Chrysler.